mean, like, people view you as so great.
Right.
Do you think that helps you be nice all the time?
I mean, yeah, I think sometimes there's
Yeah.
certain situations where,
People tend to live up to what people think of them.
Yeah, a
in
little
some
bit,
ways.
yeah,
A little
for
bit.
sure.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're stepping into a new chapter of Keanu Reeves' journey. The closing moments of 2025, a time filled with anticipation and quiet transformation. If you love exploring the stories that shape an icon's legacy, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update. Let's get into it. Serious injury. Hollywood is stirring with uneasy conversation about beloved action star Keanu Reeves, and this time the whispers have little to do with his storied film legacy. The 61-year-old icon, revered for his quiet humility and breathtaking stunt work, is now at the center of concern after suffering a surprising knee injury on the set of the upcoming film Good Fortune. Reeves, who has spent decades pushing his body to its limits for roles in The Matrix, John Wick, and countless others, recently fractured his kneecap after tripping on a rug in his trailer during production. While the injury happened far from the explosive chaos of his signature action films, the outcome was unexpectedly serious. A vertical fracture of the patella, a painful break he later described as snapping like a potato chip. According to the film's director, Aziz Ansari, Reeves was bleeding and visibly hurt, yet remained determined to continue working. He reportedly wore a brace for nearly 10 weeks while filming, pushing through discomfort to finish his scenes. Ansari recalled that Reeves dismissed the idea of stepping back from production, insisting simply, "I'm shooting." Those who observed him on set described a haunting resilience, the quiet grit of a man unwilling to let pain stop him. He was seen limping, yet still dancing through choreographed scenes when needed, though some sequences reportedly required modification or postponement. Friends and colleagues have voiced admiration, but behind the praise lies a growing undercurrent of worry. A fracture of this nature is not trivial at any age, but for an actor whose career depends on physical precision, the implications feel heavier. Reeves himself hinted that his body may no longer be able to shoulder the most demanding action roles, acknowledging that his knees are not what they once were, and joking darkly that they might not survive another John Wick. Some insiders suggest the injury has weighed on him more than he lets on. Though he remains outwardly composed, there are quiet signs of strain, slower steps, a careful posture, and a new guardedness about his physical capacity. Still, Reeves presses on with signature stoicism. Those who know him say he tries to avoid drawing attention to his condition, though the brace, occasional limp, and on-set adjustments have made silence increasingly difficult. Family, friends, and fans now watch protectively. The accident may have been mundane, but the break, and the months-long recovery that followed, have sparked difficult questions about what comes next. For admirers, the thought is hard to face. Reeves has long seemed superhuman, a humble warrior who could stride effortlessly across rooftops, crash through windows, and rise again without complaint. But the fracture, the brace, the curtailed scenes, and his own admission that the pain was banana cakes tell a different story, one of a man confronting the reality that even the strongest must eventually slow. Whether Reeves chooses to address the incident more openly or continue his trademark privacy, one truth is impossible to ignore. His injury is no longer a minor footnote. It has become the central question of his professional future. And with every careful step, every adjusted scene, Hollywood waits, wondering how much longer its quietest hero can carry the weight of a career built on defying physical limits. New movie release. Hollywood has seen Keanu Reeves take down digital overlords, assassinate assassins, and survive explosions in slow motion. But Good Fortune, the latest film from comedian and director Aziz Ansari, gives audiences something they've rarely witnessed from the iconic actor: divine confusion and heartfelt absurdity. In Good Fortune, Reeves stars as Gabriel, a bumbling guardian angel tasked with solving the life problems of two drastically different men by pulling off one miracle, switching their lives. When a struggling warehouse worker, played by Ansari, and an egotistical tech billionaire, Seth Rogen, wake up in each other's shoes, chaos ensues, not just on Earth but in heaven too. The result is a sharp, quirky, supernatural comedy that pokes fun at capitalism, celebrity wellness culture, and the gig economy, all while exploring what it really means to live a fortunate life. Reeves, known globally for his stoic action heroes, leans into a rare comedic role with surprising ease. As the well-intentioned but deeply overwhelmed Angel Gabriel, he plays against type, trading weapons for wings, gun-fu for deadpan humor. He floats, literally and emotionally, through the chaos he's created, trying to clean up a mess with celestial tools that seem hilariously outdated for the modern world. His performance is both self-aware and refreshingly earnest, proving that even after decades of blockbuster franchises, Reeves is still willing to take chances. Marking his featured directorial debut, Ansari brings a distinct voice to the film, fast-paced, idea-packed, and tonally adventurous. While Good Fortune contains moments of broad comedy, it never shies away from thoughtful questions about identity, privilege, and the often arbitrary nature of success. Ansari, who also co-wrote and co-stars in the film, draws from influences like Trading Places and Defending Your Life, blending spiritual satire with social commentary. Joining Reeves, Rogen, and Ansari is Keke Palmer, who plays a heavenly supervisor with a no-nonsense attitude and some of the film's best one-liners. Sandra Oh also appears in a memorable supporting role that adds depth to the film's emotional arc. Together, the cast balances slapstick moments with moments of sincerity, making Good Fortune both entertaining and, at times, unexpectedly moving. For fans of Keanu Reeves, the film offers a rare glimpse at his comedic instincts and willingness to step outside his carefully built mythology. For fans of Aziz Ansari, it's a creative leap that hints at a promising future behind the camera. Fan incident. The 61-year-old icon, known for his poise, privacy, and near-mythic humility, has become the unexpected focus of concern after a disturbing confrontation with an obsessive fan outside a New York theater. Reeves, who has long maintained a reputation for gracious fan interactions and a peaceful public presence, was recently leaving a performance of Waiting for Godot when the moment turned surreal. A woman, reportedly waiting near the stage door, broke from the crowd and lunged toward the actor's vehicle, loudly declaring herself his divine wife before attempting to open the car door and climb inside. The incident, caught on video and now circulating widely online, quickly escalated. Reeves's security intervened within seconds, physically restraining the woman as she clung to the door handle. Witnesses described her as visibly distressed, shouting declarations of spiritual connection and marital delusion. As the car pulled away, she remained in the street, sobbing and refusing to move. Though no one was injured, the encounter has left a lingering sense of discomfort around the actor's usually serene public appearances. For someone like Reeves, deeply private, fiercely respectful, and often hailed as the nicest guy in Hollywood, the incident marks a jarring contrast to the calm he typically brings to his interactions. For years, he has managed to walk an extraordinary line between fame and humanity, signing autographs without fuss, commuting on the subway without spectacle, and extending quiet kindness to fans across the globe. But moments like this suggest that even the most grounded public figures are not immune to the volatile edges of celebrity. Those close to the situation say the woman was not known to Reeves and had not previously appeared at events or venues he frequented. Her behavior, described by some as erratic, raises deeper concerns about parasocial obsession, the phenomenon of fans forming intense, emotional attachments to celebrities, often detached from reality. In an industry defined by flashing lights and curated personas, Reeves has often stood apart, a figure of modesty in a sea of spectacle. And yet, precisely because of that image, he has become a magnet for extreme devotion. Sources say Reeves remained calm throughout the ordeal, as is his nature. He offered no public statement and asked that the focus remain on the production, not the disruption. But insiders note that his security team has since implemented tighter protocols for arrivals and exits, a quiet shift from the accessibility Reeves is known for. There's a quiet sadness in that shift. For fans, seeing Reeves walk among them without entourage or ego has always felt like a rare gift. But now, that closeness comes with a cost. Some observers wonder whether this marks a turning point in how Reeves navigates fame. In a career spanning decades and a public image built not just on roles but on restraint, he has always chosen presence over spectacle. But now, as attention grows more invasive, the balance he's maintained may be harder to hold. Friends say he remains unfazed. Those who know him best describe him as stoic, unshaken, and unwilling to let fear define his steps. But privately, there are signs of adjustment: quicker departures, more controlled spaces, fewer unscheduled moments with crowds. It's not paranoia, it's preservation. The world may see Reeves as a kind of real-life action hero, but even heroes must protect their peace. Whether this moment fades into memory or prompts deeper boundaries, one truth has already emerged: even the quietest hero cannot walk untouched. The lines between admiration and obsession, between fan and threat, are growing thinner. And with each public step he takes, Reeves must now navigate not just fame, but the fragility of safety within it. Relationship update. Hollywood is stirring with quiet fascination over Keanu Reeves. And this time, the focus is not on a film role, a stunt gone wrong, or a bruised body, but something far more intimate: a rare and public glimpse into his personal life. Actor, long admired for his reclusive charm and monk-like discretion, has once again stepped onto the red carpet with artist and longtime partner Alexandra Grant. Not for spectacle, but it seems as an affirmation of quiet continuity. Reeves, who has spent decades guarding his private world with the same precision he brings to fight choreography, appeared alongside Grant at multiple high-profile events this fall. First, they walked hand-in-hand at the Broadway premiere of Waiting for Godot, where Reeves is currently starring. Days later, they re-emerged at the Good Fortune film premiere, this time pausing in front of photographers to share a brief kiss. For most couples, such a moment might pass without comment. But for Reeves, who for much of his career has avoided overt displays of affection, resisted press entanglements, and rarely acknowledged personal relationships, the gesture landed differently. It was gentle, unforced, and profoundly human. Those who have followed Reeves's journey know that his partnership with Grant has never been about headlines. Their relationship first became public in 2019, though their creative connection spans over a decade. Together, they've co-published books, collaborated on artistic projects, and built what many describe not as a romance designed for cameras, but as a union shaped by shared purpose and quiet understanding. And yet, in a landscape where celebrity love is often measured in spectacle, weddings, breakups, declarations scrawled in all caps, Reeves and Grant have built something else entirely. A bond that feels aged, thoughtful, and startlingly un-Hollywood in its tone. Observers have noted that Reeves appears more at ease in recent months. Not performatively so, but with the ease of a man who no longer has to carry the full weight of silence. He speaks with softness about Grant's creativity, admires her intellect openly, and offers no resistance to being seen with her. These are small gestures, but they feel monumental in the context of a man whose life has been carved from loss, restraint, and a refusal to surrender to the noise of fame. Some insiders suggest that this shift, this openness, may reflect a deeper phase in Reeves's life. One marked not by the hunger of reinvention, but by the quiet confidence of stability. Where once he navigated press lines alone, eyes down and smile faint, now he walks with someone beside him. And in that symmetry, something unspoken has settled. Upcoming wedding. But even as Keanu Reeves and Alexandra Grant continue to navigate public life with the same quiet grace that has long defined them, something in the air has shifted. In recent weeks, what began as murmurs on fan pages and whispered speculation among tabloids has begun to harden into something more persistent, and perhaps more true. The question now echoing softly across Hollywood isn't whether the couple is serious. That much has long been evident. It's whether, after years of gentle companionship and artistic collaboration, Reeves and Grant are preparing to marry. The rumors have not arrived with any official fanfare. There has been no engagement announcement, no diamond ring debut, no formal press release. And yet, whispers from inside sources, the kind that tend to materialize just before something becomes real, suggest that wedding plans are quietly in motion. Close acquaintances have reportedly begun to repeat the same line, that a ceremony, however understated, is not only possible, but likely. For their part, Reeves and Grant have not confirmed the speculation. When congratulatory messages flooded social media last month amid unfounded reports of a secret wedding, Grant offered a calm correction, gently clarifying that they were not yet married. Reeves, in typical fashion, sidestepped the question entirely, turning praise toward her and continuing to walk through the frenzy as he always has, with his head low and his heart somewhere unreachable. Still, the timing of their recent public appearances, coordinated, openly affectionate, and notably more frequent, has intensified speculation. Industry watchers point to a marked shift, a newfound ease between the two that feels grounded rather than tentative. Reeves now speaks of Grant with a quiet warmth, and she is often seen at his side with a steadiness that suggests confidence rather than caution. For many, these moments have reinforced the sense that a new chapter may be taking shape. What makes this all the more compelling is how opposite it feels from the industry around them. In a world obsessed with spectacle, Reeves and Grant continue to choose quiet. Where others broadcast love through headlines and hashtags, they have built theirs in handwritten notes and slow mornings. And yet, in doing so, they've created something that feels more permanent than any announcement could. If the couple proceeds with a wedding, it is expected to break from typical celebrity tradition. There will be no staged proposal captured by paparazzi, no exclusive coverage sold to glossy magazines. Instead, sources suggest the ceremony is likely to take place at a secluded hillside retreat, attended only by a handful of close friends. For longtime admirers of Reeves, an actor whose career has often highlighted solitary figures and whose personal life has been shaped by profound loss, the prospect of a wedding carries significance beyond simple romance. Observers say it feels restorative, symbolizing an emotional turning point after years marked by restraint. It suggests that even those who have kept their inner lives closely guarded can ultimately find connection, and that hope, even for the most private hearts, can return. Whatever comes next, whether it is a formal ceremony or simply a continuation of the life they are quietly building, one thing appears certain: Keanu Reeves and Alexandra Grant are charting a course rarely chosen in Hollywood. It is a path defined by genuine intimacy, restrained public presence, and a relationship that resists spectacle. If that journey ultimately leads to a wedding, it is unlikely to be staged for cameras or commercial deals. According to those close to the couple, any celebration would be held on their terms, private, meaningful, and intended only for them. New role. While Keanu Reeves continues to operate as one of Hollywood's most restrained leading men, the atmosphere around him appears to be shifting. It is not a reinvention or a return to form. Rather, it resembles a quiet realignment, a recalibration. That shift is largely tied to Outcome, an upcoming dark comedy from Jonah Hill that has been gaining steady industry attention. The project brings together an unexpected trio: Reeves, Cameron Diaz, and Matt Bomer, forming a cast that has already drawn curiosity for its understated but deliberate makeup. The narrative, set within a shadowed version of modern Hollywood, follows Reeves as Reef Hawk, a disgraced actor confronted by blackmail, public embarrassment, and the version of himself he has worked to outrun. The role is designed to balance performance with personal reflection. A public figure, unraveling as he's forced to confront the pieces of his life fame allowed him to bury. Diaz's involvement marks another headline. After several years away from the industry, her return has been orchestrated without splashy interviews or publicity campaigns. Her decision to reunite with Reeves, nearly 30 years after their collaboration in Feeling, Minnesota, appears intentional. Both have cultivated careers at the edges of traditional Hollywood spectacle. Both seem to be returning not to reclaim status, but to refine their craft. Meanwhile, Bomer joins the project as a performer often praised for precision, yet historically under-recognized. His presence rounds out a cast familiar with the pressures of visibility and the risk of being misread. According to early insiders, Outcome is not a Hollywood parody, nor is it a redemption narrative. The film reportedly adopts tones of anxiety, dark humor, and emotional claustrophobia, a portrait of the entertainment industry told from inside its fractured machinery. Hill, who directs and co-wrote the script, is said to navigate these themes without mockery, instead focusing on the human vulnerability beneath fame's veneer. Production has concluded, and the project is now in post-production. Even without official marketing, conversation around the film continues to build, driven not by traditional promotion but by the sense that respected artists are taking calculated risks. For Reeves, the role suggests a notable pivot. Though long recognized for performances defined by silence and restraint, Outcome appears to demand a different level of exposure, not of myth, but of the person beneath it. The character echoes the physical toll and emotional weight that have often defined his on-screen personas but looks beyond them, hinting at a more personal confrontation. For longtime followers of Reeves, the project carries symbolic weight. It is not a sign of professional fatigue, but an act of introspection, a move into territory that examines what remains after the myth-making fades. Teaching event. In December 2025, Reeves will return to New York, not to perform, but to teach. The 61-year-old actor, frequently defined by what he withholds as much as what he reveals, is set to lead a rare and highly anticipated masterclass in dramatic acting at the Lucille Lortel Theater in Manhattan, a venue known for its intimacy, its demand for craft, and its deep roots in performance. The class, scheduled for the weekend of December 13th to 14th, will be limited to a small group of advanced students, emerging professionals, and selected theater fellows. It will focus not on the mechanics of acting, blocking, projection, or standard voice technique, but instead on what Reeves describes as the inner silence required to listen, to carry grief, and to inhabit stillness. For an actor who built a decades-long career around restraint, the offering is unexpected, and yet entirely fitting. Organizers say the masterclass will be part technique, part philosophy. Participants will work through selected dramatic scenes, drawn from writers like Anton Chekhov, Samuel Beckett, and contemporary screen material. But the core of the weekend will revolve around the concept Reeves refers to as the invisible hinge. The moment before a line is spoken, when everything true is already present. Event co-curator Mariah Halperin, who helped bring the project to the Lortel space, explains that Reeves agreed to participate only if the focus remained on creative exploration rather than performance. She notes that he intentionally turned down requests for press attention and chose not to accept a speaking fee. According to Halperin, his involvement isn't about seeking publicity. He's committed to the work itself and hopes to share something valuable through it. Reeves, whose career has spanned roles from a digital savior to a vengeance-driven killer, has seldom discussed his artistic approach in public. He rarely appears on panels or teaches workshops, yet collaborators describe his method as highly intentional, subtle to the point of seeming effortless. A former co-star, speaking on the condition of anonymity, recalled that Reeves approaches scenes without imposing himself, creating space for others rather than dominating it. His quiet presence encourages a kind of honesty in those acting alongside him. The master class will be capped at 20 participants. Applications were quietly made available through the Theater Coalition for Independent Artists in late October, with invitations extended to conservatories, repertory companies, and underrepresented performance programs across the East Coast. Demand was immediate, and far exceeded the available places. Yet Reeves insisted on keeping the group small. "There's no truth in a crowded room," he reportedly told organizers. What makes this moment feel different is not only the rarity of the opportunity, but its timing. Reeves has recently been seen widening his creative trajectory. With the forthcoming release of Outcome, a dark comedy exploring damage and disillusionment of stardom, and the release of Good Fortune, a supernatural satire about identity and fate, he appears to be leaning toward roles that unspool rather than explode. The masterclass then feels like a natural extension of that inward shift, toward what's been underlying all along. And for Reeves, whose personal life has been marked by significant loss, the move toward mentorship seems almost inevitable. He has never framed himself as a guru. He seldom offers advice, But perhaps that is what makes this moment so compelling. Someone who has spent much of his career in near silence is now choosing, at last, to speak. Vehicle sale. But even as Keanu Reeves continues to carve out a cinematic legacy built on silence, strength, and staggering velocity, something familiar from his film world is preparing to exit the stage. And this time, it's not a character, but a car. The 1969 Ford Mustang Mach 1, famously driven by Reeves in John Wick, Chapter 2, is set to be auctioned off in the coming weeks. For collectors, fans, and those who simply admire the mythos of John Wick, it's more than a vehicle. It's a relic from a world built on grief, precision, and vengeance. In a franchise defined by its gunmetal poetry and relentless choreography, the Mustang was never just a prop. It was an extension of Wick himself, beautiful, battered, and capable of stunning violence. It was, in many ways, the last living link to a life Wick had lost: his wife, his peace, his past. And now, as the real-world version of that car moves into the hands of a new owner, it feels like a piece of that story is being released too. The auction, taking place through Bonhams as part of a larger liquidation of iconic screen-used vehicles, will mark the first time this particular Mustang has been available to the public. With no reserve and an expected sale price between €85,000 and €140,000, the event is already attracting attention not only from collectors but from film lovers who understand what this car has come to symbolize. And yet, what makes the moment resonate is not just the sale itself, but the quiet significance behind it. For those who know the John Wick saga intimately, the car is more than chrome and horsepower. It represents something deeply human: the struggle to hold on to memory. That the car is now being released into the world, decades after its model year and years after its last screen appearance, carries a quiet finality. As if the universe of John Wick, so driven by codes, rituals, and symbolic tokens, is letting go of one of its final sacred objects. The auction comes at a time when film memorabilia is being increasingly reframed not as novelty, but as artifact. The line between entertainment and art continues to blur, and the objects left behind, the costumes, the scripts, the vehicles, are being preserved not just for nostalgia, but for what they represent. In this case, the intersection of Hollywood fantasy and mechanical reality. Some insiders have suggested that the Mustang will find its way into a private collection, perhaps shielded from public view. Others hope it lands in a museum, displayed not only as a classic muscle car, but as a touchstone in 21st century action cinema. Wherever it goes, the car's future will likely echo its past, existing just on the edge of legend. For Keanu Reeves, who brought John Wick to life with blistering physicality and heartbreaking restraint, this is not an official farewell. There is no word yet on whether the character will re-emerge, but the car's departure, quiet and without ceremony, feels emblematic of the world he created: stylish, stoic, and resolutely unsentimental. Charity gift. Keanu Reeves is known for staying out of the spotlight, but every now and then, a quiet act of generosity slips through. This week, it came in the form of a guitar. Reeves recently bought a rare 1964 Gibson ES 335 at a small charity auction in Los Angeles. The sale, reportedly topping $70,000, will fund music programs for kids through the Harmony for Hope Fund, which supports under-resourced young musicians across the U.S. The guitar once belonged to a session player active in the Laurel Canyon folk scene. Worn, sunburst, and played for decades, it has reportedly passed through only 2 owners. Reeves, who didn't attend the auction, made just one request: the guitar must be used, not put behind glass. For Reeves, the gesture makes sense. Before becoming an action icon, he played bass in the 90s alt-rock band Dogstar and reunited with them for a short tour in 2023. Friends say he treats instruments like memories, not trophies. Harmony for Hope says the funds will provide a full year of music education for 120 kids in 6 cities. The guitar will soon go to a Chicago youth program, where a 14-year-old standout composer has been writing music on borrowed instruments. The organization hopes the vintage Gibson will help him continue. Reeves didn't comment. He rarely does. But those around him say the act is typical. Quiet giving, done with purpose, never for applause. He's reportedly supported cancer research anonymously, helped struggling crew members, and once gifted motorcycles to an entire stunt team. This latest gift is simple, but telling. That brings us to the end of this story. If you enjoyed it, don't miss the other celebrity journeys waiting for you on screen. Thanks so much for watching.